Hey guys, it's Britt and welcome back to my channel. It has been a minute. So I got a bunch of emails and people messaging me wondering where I've been, and some of you guys may know, but we moved at the very end of April, and so we've just been getting settled, unpacking. There's still a lot to unpack, and I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for giving me some space while I got settled, but now I'm ready to get back in the kitchen for you guys. So my goal is for every Thursday for a YouTube video to come out for you guys with a recipe, and I haven't determined on the time yet for scheduling, but I'm hoping to become more regular so you guys know what to expect each week. So Thursday, write it down on your calendar. That's the day a new delicious recipe comes out. So we moved at the end of April. A lot of you guys might not know is I also teach middle school full-time. So we finished up our school year, and then I went straight into the NHA conference and spoke at this past weekend, which was such an amazing experience doing a cooking demo in Ohio. And so I am so excited for all of these really big things coming up, but also to get back to you guys and kind of a normal routine. So today we are gonna make our delicious and easy chickpea blondies. Now this recipe came out on our private membership. If you guys didn't know, I've had a private membership where pretty much I release everything I'm currently working on. They all come out free over time to our channel. I think there was a little confusion coming out. My goal is to make everything accessible if you can't afford the membership, or if you want to help support what we do here and get those recipes a lot sooner. It takes me some time. So this actually came out, a while ago in the membership. So those of you guys that are members, you may have this. We just doubled that recipe to make it serve a lot more people. So this should look familiar for all the members. If you do want to become a supporting member, we do like a virtual cooking class. Again, I put out 5 recipes that are the newest that we've created. And eventually, again, it takes about, I would say it takes a couple months. I would say like 4 months. 4 to 5 months for recipes to come out. So it's a slow progression, but you guys will be seeing a lot of the membership stuff from a long time ago. But you can check out that link down below. We're gonna jump into it. Again, we're in our new kitchen, so I'm still getting kind of comfortable with the setup, but I'm really excited to have an island that is not on wheels this time in this house. And we'll do a whole house tour once we get all officially settled and unboxed. There are tons of boxes, guys. The kitchen was kind of my first go-to to get organized, but the rest of the house, you guys know. I'm sure you guys have moved. This was our official first move since we got married, and I couldn't believe how much stuff I acquired in just being married for around 8 years. So this recipe is perfect because it's easy, it's simple, it freezes great, it is such a hit at parties. Your kids will love it. The main ingredient is chickpeas, and it just takes, you guys will see, it'll take only a couple minutes to whip together. So if you guys are going anywhere for the 4th of July, if you have a family gathering, if you just want to have a snack that you can keep in the freezer and pull out a little bit, I love doing that. So this is really such a favorite here. We take this camping. All of you guys coming on our camping trip at the end of the month, I might bring a batch of this, and you're just gonna love it. So I made this last night, a batch, and I'm gonna show you guys how it looks. So we'll do the, the magic of video, pulling out the finished product, but doesn't it look so good? And I wish you guys could smell how amazing it smells right now. So I also love this because it's minimal ingredients of what you need. You just need a food processor. So we're gonna whip this up together. I'm gonna walk you through all the ingredients. Now, everything is linked down below. I write the recipes out for you guys. You don't even have to go to another website. If you click the show notes down below this video, there's a little arrow. You're gonna see the whole recipe written out with grams. Now, if you want the free PDF, all you have to do is go to our website. I put a free PDF and Word document for you guys. You can print it off. You can see the photos of the recipe. It's also there for you, totally free. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So in a food processor, you need 3.5 cups of cooked chickpeas. Cooked, not dry, cooked. You can also use two 2 cans, 15-ounce cans that you've rinsed and drained. So if you want to make them from scratch or you want to use canned, either way, they need to not have any of the liquid. It's just the beans. So 3.5 cups of cooked chickpeas, okay? And I just have those ready to go. I'm just gonna dump into my food processor. Up next is 1 cup of oat flour, and it's just rolled oats that we put in a blender to pulse down to a flour. 1 cup of oat flour. You're gonna see this like takes no time at all. I have 1 cup of date paste. So this is our sweetener, but this also is gonna make this kind of like our, really the only liquid per se for this recipe. So this is gonna make it nice and thick, but also help your food processor move along. Now you can soak your dates in hot water before you make your date paste. And we have a whole video on date paste, but it's just 1 cup of dates that are pitted to 1 cup of water, blend it up, and you just wanna measure out 1 cup of that. And it should be nice and thick. Now I also get asked a lot, can I use date syrup? No, you have to use date paste. Give it a whirl. It freezes great. You can make it on the fly. If you wanted to use a different kind of dried fruit and make one of our sweet paste, you totally can, but it will affect the flavor. So a lot of the times with my recipes, you know, I gotta tell you guys to use what you have. You should be resourceful. You should make it the flavors that your family likes, and don't be shy about changing things up. However, I will say that when I rate the recipes, it's exactly the way that we enjoy it. So if you do go ahead and swap something for something else, I can't guarantee 100% it'll turn out like the original. So I always tell people to make it my way first, unless you have an allergy, and then you can play around with it and make it perfect for your family. But this is the way we like it, and it's perfect for ours. But again, I'm not eating it, so make it how you like it. All right, up next we have 1/2 cup of powdered nut butter, not brought back to life with water, it's just the powder. So I really like PB2's cashew powder. It's 1 ingredient, it's just cashews. Now, if you have a nut allergy, you probably can leave this out. However, this gives it kind of the peanut butter-y flavor. Even though we're using cashew powder, it still kind of tastes more like that creaminess that you're looking for blondies. So if you can do a nut butter or a seed butter, I like to use the powdered. That way it doesn't make it too liquidy. It really gives a nice firm blondie. So again, if you're gonna play around with something else, totally fine. And if you have a nut allergy, you probably can leave this out. It still would make a delicious blondie, but just know that this is like the best way to do it. And again, that's 1/2 cup of the straight powder. You don't add any water to that. If you have a specific question about how to tweak the recipe for what you have at home, or if you have an allergy, just send me an email. Now, I do my best to get back to everyone. I even put my cell phone number on our website, so you can even text me if you run into trouble making a recipe. I get hundreds of emails as well. Just be patient. I usually do my best, especially now that I'm on summer break. I have a little bit more free time to get back to you guys. I usually do my best to get back to you guys. However, if it's an emergency, you can always send me a text, and then I'm usually pretty quick on that. Okay. I'm here to help you guys and make being whole food plant-based fun, enjoyable, that your kids will love, that your family will love, and to give you great recipes. All right. Up next is 1 teaspoon of vanilla powder. Now, if you want to use vanilla extract, you can use 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, but I like to use vanilla powder. I find it on Amazon. Again, I have our Amazon shop linked below, so you can go check out everything that I buy. But this is a lot of vanilla powder. Now, I feel like this recipe kind of deserves that. You can be a little stingy on your vanilla powder and not do a whole teaspoon, but it's so much better with it. So I do make this, especially for special occasions, and I love using vanilla powder. So hopefully that was a long-winded convincing of you using the whole teaspoon. And then another reason I love this recipe is because it's so easy to remember that I can pretty much memorize this recipe, because it's just 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So they're all the same amounts, which is really nice. And so a lot of the times when I'm making this, I don't even have to pull out or print off the paper because it's so easy with little ingredients. All right, we're gonna put the lid on. Now I'm using the Vitamix food processor. I get asked a lot about this. I love it. It has been my favorite food processor. I went through a ton of food processors that were cheap. If you've been following me for a long time or taking any of my really old cooking classes, you guys will know I kind of, food processors were like the vein of my existence. But the Vitamix one has been so great. I have had it for over a year now. I use it very, very often, probably more often than the average person. It works great. It holds a ton, and you guys will see it blends up nice and well. Now, the consistency we're looking for is kind of like a really creamy and thick nut butter. It should be, and I'll post a picture on the screen now, it should be very thick. The date paste is the only liquid that we really added wet to this, so it does a great job, but you'll see that it's a very, very thick amount. The only thing out of the recipe I left out was the dark chocolate chips. And that's because I just don't want these to be, it to be like mixed in too much. I'd rather just stir it in by hand. If you want to make this chocolate chickpea brownies, you can add that in, or you can even add cocoa or cacao powder, and that gives it a different spin as well. There are endless possibilities. When I gave my talk at the NHA conference last weekend, I really wanted to teach you guys that, just because you're whole food plant-based and we're eating healthy, doesn't mean it has to be boring or limiting, and you can still have a lot of fun like this recipe I'm showing you. Okay, I'm gonna blend this and I'll show you what it looks like. After everything is well incorporated, just take off the lid, and you guys can see it's very thick. So I'm going to set this aside for a second. Another reason, this isn't a pitch, Vitamix doesn't sponsor me. If they'd love to, I'm here for it, but I love this because it's easy to clean, which like this part comes off. Again, I have the cheapest and lowest of the Ascent series, which is the base you need if you get the food processor. I just adore it. All right, so I'm gonna put that on the side. So we're gonna take out the one I made yesterday. Now I'm using a 13x9 glass casserole pan. I really like this for this recipe. It comes out, makes really nice bars. You can use whatever you have at home and play around with this. If you have a pan that's really big, you can increase this by maybe half the amount to make it work. You can cut this in half, the whole amount, if it's only you at home, and make it in a loaf pan and make little strips. It's endless, right? You could put this in a cupcake pan. You can put this in a square pan. It's really up to you. Again, this is a 13x9, which makes the perfect amount in my opinion. And I'm gonna line it with parchment paper because we just don't want anything to stick, so it comes out beautifully. You guys can see it's like such a great depth. It's a little bit thick, which I love. I'm just gonna put this on the board, and then I just cut a piece of parchment paper. We're gonna reuse this dish because we're making the same thing, and I'm just gonna put it with some parchment paper. So all I did was cut my parchment paper to fit. And I just it doesn't have to be perfect. You can see that it just plops out really nice. But just so it's covering the bottom of it, and that way after it bakes, it really comes out beautifully. All right, so I'm gonna take out the blade, and then I'm just gonna hand stir in the dark chocolate chips. Now you also could save it and just put them on top. It really depends on what you want to do. It's personal preference, so have fun. You can leave them out. You can put in as many as you want. I didn't put the amount because, again, I think it's a personal choice for how chocolatey you want it. But there are so many different brands of dark chocolate chips. Now, Trader Joe sells a great small pack that's affordable. It's organic. It has one ingredient. That's the one I'm using. Santa Barbara, if you don't have a Trader Joe near you, has also a 3-pound organic 1-ingredient dark chocolate. If you can't find either of those, most grocery stores have bars of baking chocolate that's one ingredient, 100% chocolate. So you can look around. I guarantee you, no matter where you live in the world, even if it's a baking chocolate bar, if it's these, you know, you can find something. So just read ingredients and check out where you live. So I'm using the Trader Joe's chocolate chips. And I'm just gonna gently stir with my spatula just to kind of incorporate all of that. It looks like cookie dough. That's pretty much the consistency. I guess I was trying to think of a word for it, but I would say cookie dough. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scoop all this out into the center of it. I also have, and I've taught this in the membership cooking class recently, so this might look familiar to a couple of you as well, but I have a cup of water. And I'm gonna share with you how to get this looking nice and smooth and beautiful because you'll see that it's a very thick recipe. So I just put everything kind of in the middle. And you're gonna see that like everything sticks to the spatula. Doesn't really wanna move. Just a little hack. And again, you can half this recipe and use a loaf pan. That turns out great, makes smaller amount. This makes pretty much a full 16 by 19 pan. So I love it. And it's gonna rise a little bit, but not crazy. So just keep that in mind. And so while I'm doing this, I'm just gonna talk about a couple things coming out for the channel. So again, every Thursday, I'm planning on getting on here and filming for you guys and posting a free recipe. And then what's exciting is that I'm gonna try to get into a rhythm of doing maybe a dessert and a savory and kind of bounce back and forth because everyone has something different that they're looking for. And then that way it kind of lets me get both of those in to make everyone happy. It's hard to make the whole internet happy, right? All right, that looks pretty good. I do my best. All right, so it's a big pile on the middle of our baking sheet. So I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. And I'm gonna grab another piece of parchment paper and kind of show you this hack that'll make it come out really beautifully and like all in one smooth piece. So we kind of go from that to that after we bake. So let me grab the second piece of parchment paper. All right, once you have your second piece of parchment paper, I like to put this, kind of flatten out the one that it's sitting on, but I like to put it right over and then using my hands, you can smooth out, you know, not 100%, but get it pretty close and kind of spread out your blondies. Now, I'm sure there's another way to do this, and if you have your own way of doing it, totally fine. This is just how I found that makes it work. It's easy, it's quick. I'm just gonna smooth this out. And I just do my best like along the sides to kind of just try to make it even so that there's no significantly larger pieces of the dough standing up. And if your blondies, the batter, gets on the side where there's not parchment paper, it's fine. It totally will pop out nice and clean, just as long as we had it underneath. Now again, if you want to use a silicone pan, that's totally fine too. Again, this is a 13 by 9. You can kind of play around with the dough and play around with the pan. I want you guys to be adventurous in the kitchen, to be creative, to experiment, not to be shy, even with baking. That is how all of us recipe create and test, and of course there are failures, but more times than not it comes out pretty good, I'd say. I don't really waste a lot of food recipe testing nowadays, which is I'm very thankful. It always turns out, and if it doesn't, we still enjoy it. So now you're gonna carefully kind of pull back that parchment paper, and only a little bit of it sticks onto it. So you can scrape this off, you know, if you want. I'm gonna set it aside. It wasn't a bunch, but now it kind of looks like rustic. I say rustic, but it's not smooth. So you can bake it like this, it's totally fine. What I like to do is, with clean hands, you just wanna dip like maybe 1 or 2 fingers into the water, let the excess drip off, and then this will help from the dough sticking to your finger, and you can kind of form it to what you want. So if there's parts of it that maybe you want to move closer to the sides, you can kind of go along. You can flatten down if there's any peaks. You can form it. Now, if it starts to stick, you just go back to your water. You just want to make sure you're not like soaking this. That's kind of the secret, but I just like to do this especially around the sides. The middle part will turn out beautiful when it comes out, but around the sides just to really make sure it's even. If there's any chocolate chips that kind of came up. And again, at this point too, you could put your chocolate chips just on top. It's really up to you how you want to incorporate those. You could add anything else on top you wanted as well. So this just takes an extra second. And again, I'm not really getting excess water on here. I'm just kind of guiding the sides, putting it where I want. It looks pretty good. It only takes a second. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. We're going to pop it into the oven. This guy bakes at 350 degrees, and it bakes for around 30 to 35 minutes, and it comes out beautiful. It comes out nice and brown. That's what it looks like before, and the after. So it bakes down to be quite more brown, and I just love this recipe. Again, take it to a party. No one's gonna know that there's chickpeas in there and dates that are the sweetener for it. It's quick, it's easy. Seriously, you can make this super fast. I love this recipe. So I'm gonna put this in the oven. I'm gonna cut this, show you guys what it looks like, and you guys have it. And if you do make the recipe, be sure to tag me on anything on Facebook, Instagram, any of the medias I'm on, or you can even send me an email if you're not on those. I love seeing you guys make these, and I also love hearing that you've taken them somewhere or your family loves them. It's just such a great treat to have. I was actually chatting with a friend of mine who's a mom, talking about making these for her son, and it's just great because you can feel really good about giving them this because it's mainly chickpeas and oats, and then a little bit of dates to sweeten it. So I really hope you guys make it. All right, see you guys in a second. Let's cut into this. So again, pull it from the oven, hot, let it cool, remove it. I like to remove it by kind of giving it more stability by grabbing the corners and carefully picking it up. It's best to do that when it's cool. Do not try to remove it when it's hot. If you're using a silicone pan, again, let it cool completely and then remove. You can cut these up into bars. You can take it as is. I like to cut them up into squares or even strips, but it becomes nice and firm, still soft, and you guys have it. So this is such a delicious treat. Again, take it to maybe the 4th of July, take it to a family gathering if you're watching this after the 4th. I just love it. It's nice and thick. It wins over with everybody. It holds up too. So if you're traveling in a car or if you're going on a vacation, it does not crumble, which is really nice. A lot of baked goods can crumble and make a huge mess. You can feel really good about this. And I just store it in Tupperware. You can in the refrigerator. You can also freeze this, which is, I'm gonna have 2 of these now. So I'm definitely gonna freeze these. And they also make for a great gift. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm so excited to be back on YouTube with you guys. Check out the Jaroudi Family on YouTube every Thursday. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. And again, all of our Facebook pages, the membership, everything for recipes like this on the website and all are down below so you don't miss it. All right, it was good seeing you guys. Leave us a comment if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys really soon in the next one. Take a bite of it. It's so good. I hope you give it a try. Bye, guys.